Hi, welcome back to my channel, or a very warm welcome if you're new here. My name is Sophie, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about all of my anticipated book releases for July to December. So I did a video at the end of last year about all of my anticipated releases for 2026. But as the year has progressed, there have been some more exciting books announced that I'm really excited to pick up. So I thought I would do a second installment of this and talk through more of the books that have been announced for release through July to December. So there are quite a lot to get through, so I'm just going to let you know when it's going to be released and read a short synopsis which I've got from the Waterstones website. So let's start with July. So due for release on the 2nd of July, I have 3 books. So up first is Dreamers of the Full Moon Coffee Shop by Mei Mochizuki, and this is a third installment to the Full Moon Coffee Shop series, which is about a coffee shop which is run by cats. So I've read the first book, but the second book was a Christmassy installment, so I will probably save that one till Christmas. But yeah. So this is a third installment in that series. So the synopsis says that this is not a romance, but it is about love and set in a cute coffee shop. One present moon, an azure cat takes over the running of the Full Moon Coffee Shop. The evening's first customer is an aging mother living alone in a crumbling cottage perched on a sea cliff. Fujiko hasn't seen her only daughter, a high-flying actress in Tokyo, longer than she remembers. She passes the days reminiscing about times gone by in a company of a fluffy white kitty until her little life collapses in on itself when a blast from the past hits the headlines. In a little multi-dimensional coffee shop tucked away somewhere between past and future, Fujiko makes a new feline friend. But this cat isn't just any old cat. They are a planet of our deepest desires in disguise, and they have the power to bend time. Under the mystical influence of the Blue Planet, the third book in the beloved healing fiction series weaves an enchanting, empowering story about owning your truth before it's too late. So I did really enjoy the first book. It is similar to a lot of these kind of magical Japanese fiction books with cats in. So yeah, I'm really excited to see a third installment in the series. So up next for release on the 2nd of July is We Were Forbidden, Brief Encounters by Jacqueline Harpman. And Jacqueline Harpman was author of I Who Have Never Known Men, which is one of my favourite books. So this is actually, I think it's a series of novellas which have recently been translated into English. So it comprises 3 previously untranslated stories from the author of acclaimed bestseller I Who Have Never Known Men. We Were Forbidden ranges from a sinister forest in the aftermath of war to a dark depiction of desire in a loveless marriage. In the wake of war, a woman wanders the forest, forbidden from ever leaving its strange depths. As part of her rigid schooling, a teenage girl is barred from questioning the dogma she is taught to believe. Locked in a loveless marriage, a young woman satisfies her husband's desires twice weekly as directed until she begins to pursue her own. And this includes the stories The Ardennes Forest, The Outcast and The Broom Cupboard. And I loved I Who Have Never Known Men, so I'm really excited to see a translation of some of Jacqueline Harpman's novellas. And then up next is Slay by Jasmine Elmer, and actually I was lucky enough to receive an advanced completed copy of this to read for review from Jasmine Elmer herself. So yeah, I was really grateful to receive this and really excited to read this. I will probably have already read this by the time this video goes live, but I read Goddess with a Thousand Faces earlier in the year and really loved that. So yeah, it was so exciting to receive this from Jasmine Elmer. So it is a groundbreaking and seminal chronicle of the hidden history and mythology of female dragon slayers from ancient world expert and author of Goddess with a Thousand Faces, Jasmine Elmer. So yeah, I'm so excited to read this one. So I will just briefly tell you what kind of stories it covers. So again, her Goddess with a Thousand Faces followed different goddesses from around the world, and that was a really interesting read. And then this does have, again, different female dragon slayers from around the world. So we have Medea, Hekate, Tokoyo and Margaret. So yeah, I'm really interested to read this one, and I loved Jasmine Almer's other book. Then on the 23rd of July, we have Fishbone, Cinderella by Elizabeth Lim, and she is author of Six Crimson Cranes, which I read and really enjoyed. I still have yet to read the sequel, and I also have a lot of her other releases on my shelf. So I am really interested to see another book by her, although I do need to catch up on the backlog. But this entwines fairy tale, Chinese history, and exquisite storytelling. This entrancing first adult novel from the author of Six Crimson Cranes revolves around a magical girl, a family curse, and a golden bracelet whose links are shaped like fish bones. So yeah, as I said, I really enjoyed Six Crimson Cranes. I love Elizabeth Lim's writing, and I'm interested to see an adult novel from her. Then on the 28th of July, we have Theodora's Tea Shop by Christy Jones, who is also a booktuber, and I love her videos, I love her channel, and she documented her process of becoming a published author. So yeah, definitely check out those videos. I will leave her channel linked below. But yeah, this is her debut novel and it sounds really interesting. I think it has vibes of kind of Howl's Moving Castle. So it is a delightful, cozy fantasy, perfect for fans of Sarah Beth Durst and Lucy Jane Wood. Theodora's Tea Shop revolves around a sickly girl with a passion for studying magic who finds herself working for the most powerful witch in the city. And this is described as a fantasy novel brimming with witchy magic, found family, self-love, and lots of warm cups of tea. Nothing is more dangerous than a witch with secrets. And yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I can't wait. And yeah, I do already have this one pre-ordered, so I probably may leave that until spooky season. But yeah, really excited to read this one. Then finally, another couple of books being released in July. So these two on the 30th of July. So first we have A Snake Among Swans by Hannah Kaner. So this is from the author of the acclaimed Fallen Gods trilogy, and this is described as an unputdownable fantasy of duty, duplicity, and female rage, as the only surviving heir of a conquered land seeks to bring down an aging warlord's court from within. So yeah, I love female rage, so this one sounds great, and I did really enjoy God Killer and the other two books in that series by Hannah Kaner, so really looking forward to reading this one. And I think this is possibly going to be a pick in one of the book subscription boxes. So I can't wait to see what kind of customizations they've done. So I'm hoping that it will be a Lumicrate, because then it should match my editions of God Killer and that series. And then a book that I saw that looked really intriguing to me. So this is called Plant Lady by Minyoung Kang, and the cover is just amazing. I saw that and I thought I have to add this to my TBR. So it's haunting, subversive, and original to the core. This page-turning Korean international bestseller mines misogyny and obsession through the immersive story of a green-fingered serial killer. So to me, this is kind of giving vibes of My Sister the Serial Killer. I do also quite like Korean translated fiction. It's something that I have read quite a bit of. So yeah, I am interested to read this one. So that's everything that's due to be released in July. So now I will move on to August. So on the 6th of August, there is a book which appealed to me because I like folklore and mythology, and this is Seasonal Folktales, Myths, Magic and Folklore of the North from Scotland to Scandinavia. So I absolutely love Scandinavia and yeah, everything set in Scandinavia. So I was really excited to see that this one had been announced. And this is by Morvern. So these are magical retellings of classic Celtic and Nordic folk tales. We journey from snowy mountain peaks to wild forests and stormy coastlines as we observe the moon phases, find folkloric treasures, and meet an array of strange and mysterious creatures. We'll encounter sprites, trolls, mythic beasts, and monsters from the Bramble Boggle, a mysterious member of fairy folk who is said to have given blackberries their thorns, to the sea witches and selkies who roam the northern shores. So through the power of these stories, we can light up our minds with a wild, childlike wonder and reconnect our hungry souls to the natural rhythms of the shifting seasons. So this one sounds perfect for me. As I said, I love mythology, especially mythology and folklore, which is Scandinavian. And yeah, also interested to read more Celtic mythology as well. Then on the 18th of August is a autumnal book. So this is part of the Cozy Creek collection. So I do have a couple of those that I bought at Yalk, but I haven't read those yet. I was saving them to September, October time in the autumn. And then, yeah, this is another one in that series. So yeah, whilst I haven't read it, they do look like really cool, cozy books to read in autumn. So this is Fall Shook Up by Piper Sheldon. So this is a cozy, autumn-inspired, grumpy sunshine, small-town romantic comedy about a reclusive artist and a nosy journalist who just can't seem to stay away from him. So yeah, I think this will just be kind of, without offending the author, just trashy romance set in autumn. So yeah, I'm excited to read some of those in autumn. They also have such beautiful sprayed edge editions as well. So I think there is actually another one, which I don't have on this list. But yeah, I think there is another one coming out as well. And then on the 27th of August, we have Earthbound by Sarah El-Arifi. And this is the final instalment in the Feybound trilogy. I'm not sure if that's its actual name, but the first book is Feybound and I really enjoyed it. I really do actually like Sarah El-Arifi's writing. So I read Cleopatra by her as well. And yeah, I do like her writing style. So this is set in the Alvan lands and we follow our main character. I can't remember her name, but she is in a very high rank in the Alvan army. But a mistake one day means that she is exiled from the lands and she and her sister end up meeting fairies, which have been elusive in this world and not much is known about them. So they become embroiled in some stuff going on in the Feylands. And yeah, I don't really want to say much more because I don't want to spoil the books for you. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a really good fantasy series. And I think I do have one more series by her to read on my TBR. So I'm really looking forward to reading that as well. And then we are into September. And I have to say there are some really exciting releases for September, October and November. And some of these were books that weren't on my radar when I did the last video, but they have been announced, some by my favourite authors. So I'm really excited for autumn this year. So up first in September, on the 1st of September, we have The Knave and the Moon by Rachel Gillig. So this is a sequel to The Night and the Moth, and this is a gothic romantasy. And we follow Sybil, who is a diviner living in Aisling Cathedral. And she lives with her fellow diviners, and one day they go missing, so she sets out to save them along with the knight Roderick. And they go on an adventure to bring the diviners home. So I'm not really going to go into much more detail about it as I don't want to spoil the plot, but I really do like Rachel Gillig's writing. She does so well with creating the atmosphere and the setting, and yeah, she just writes some beautiful gothic fantasy books. Then up next is one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and this is Styx by Nikita Gill. So this is the second instalment in the Goddesses of the Underworld series. So I read Hekate last year, absolutely loved it. It's one of my 5-star reads from last year, and also I think probably going to be one of my favourite books of all time. So it is written in verse, so it's written in poetry, which I didn't think I was going to get on with, but I absolutely loved it. So again, I believe this one is also in verse form. So this is the second beguiling instalment of the Goddesses of the Underworld series, and Gill reshapes the story of Styx and how she carved her own path to womanhood alongside her devoted sister Asteria. And this is set, I think, a generation before Hecate's story. So yeah, it is a sequel, but it's kind of a prequel as well. So then on the 8th of September, we have a new book by Victoria Aveyard called Tempest, and this is the start of a new series called The Lyran Sea. I don't know if this is a duology or a trilogy, but Victoria Aveyard is author of the Red Queen and Realmbreaker series. So I read The Red Queen, the first book in that series, and did really enjoy it. I never finished that series. I wish I had. Maybe I will do that at some point soon. And then Realmbreaker, which I believe I possibly have on my shelf somewhere. I would have to check that, I'm not sure. But yeah, this is the first installment of a spellbinding romantasy, which finds a woman living across two worlds face a devastating choice between home and heart. And yeah, I did like Victoria Aveyard's writing, so I'm interested to see how she's progressed since she wrote the other series. And yeah, really looking forward to this one. Then perhaps the most exciting book that is coming out in 2026 is by Alice Hoffman, who is one of my absolute favourite authors. So we do have Practical Magic 2, the movie, coming out this year, and I'm really excited to see that. I love the Practical Magic series. I love everything Alice Hoffman writes. So she does have a new witchy book coming out on the 8th of September as well. And this is The Witches of Cambridge. So this is a gripping slice of dark academia as two recruits to Radcliffe College's secret organisation of witches start to realise the past may not be as buried as they think when girls start going missing. So yeah, we have a secret organisation. It's made up of witches. There is some kind of mystery. And yeah, I absolutely cannot wait to read this one. And it's even more exciting knowing that the Practical Magic 2 movie is coming out. And I think I will probably try and reread that series before the movie comes out and hopefully do a vlog on that as well. And maybe I might add reading this book into that vlog. Then on the 10th of September, we have another release by Lucy Jane Wood in her series, which I've forgotten the name of the series, but they're standalone books, but characters kind of are linked and do appear in different books. So this is called Disenchanted. And the synopsis says, it's books, beanstalks and broomsticks for reluctant witch Sage Hemlock, as she is forced to face her magical powers when a book in her library unleashes an ancient curse in this comforting, cosy romantasy from the best-selling author of Rewitched and Uncharmed. So yeah, I did read Rewitched and Uncharmed last year, so I'm really hoping to read this one as soon as it comes out, as I really do love her writing. They feel very comforting and cosy and perfect for September, October time. There are quite a number of books being released on the 10th of September actually. So there's also This Divine Revelry by Bea Fitzgerald, and she is a mythology author. I think they're more targeted at YA audience. So I am ashamed to admit that I have all of her mythology books, but I haven't read any of them, and I keep buying them because I'm really excited to read them. And yeah, so this is another book. So I think, have there been 3 already that I haven't read? So yeah, this will be a 4th. So I really need to read her books. I really need to prioritize them. So yeah, I think they are actually kind of linked as well. So this is the 3rd dynamic and witty installment in Fitzgerald's myth retelling series. And this is following Ariadne, who's swearing revenge on a feckless Theseus and forming an unexpected bond with the alluring yet infuriating god Dionysus. So yeah, love Greek myth, and I think this is more YA. So yeah, I really need to read one of her books. And yeah, still really excited about this release, and each book has a different colour scheme. So we've had pink, we've had blue, we've had green, and this one is going to be purple. And yeah, purple is my favourite colour, so I'm really excited to see the final design of this book. Then we have some more mythology, and this is another book by Amy Jeffs, who has written Storyland, and I can't recall the other ones, but yeah, I think they are behind me on the shelf. So yes, Saints and Wild, and these are British mythology retellings. So yeah, grounded in British myth, and this one is Arthur, A New Life. So the author of the celebrated Storyland retells the legend of King Arthur with fresh energy, pace and research, from Merlin's conception to the abduction of Guinevere and the ambitious quest for empire. So yeah, a lot of great mythology releases as well towards the end of this year. And then another book released on the 10th of September is not really the kind of genre I read. So this is kind of more thriller, mystery, crime, but it just sounded really interesting. So this is called The Island of the Lost by Daisy Stevens, and I will read the synopsis for this as it sounds really interesting. So, Liv doesn't believe in ghosts. There is a small island off the coast of Italy that was once the site of a plague quarantine station, and later a psychiatric asylum. It now sits deserted, home only to the shadows of local folklore. Liv doesn't believe her sister is dead. Granted special permission to visit for a writing assignment, Liv sets sail for the abandoned island, but only she knows the real reason. She is certain it is the last place her twin sister Mia visited before she vanished 18 months ago. But Liv believes in whatever is on the island. Alone with her only colleague Sam, Liv can't deny how unsettling the place truly is. How can a church tower toll when there is no bell? What is the ghostly figure in her peripheral vision? And why can she smell the smoke of burning bodies? So yeah, this one did sound really intriguing to me. So not normally what I read, but yeah, I'm still really excited to read this one. Then on the 15th of September, we have a new release by Leigh Bardugo, and this is part of the Ninth House series. So I have book 1 and book 2 on my TBR, but I have not read them yet. So yeah, I really need to read those. And this is now a 3rd installment, and this is the conclusion to her acclaimed trilogy. So this finds Alex Stern back in New Haven, facing a pressing and personal quest for truth, hiding amongst the secrets of Yale and its ancient societies. So yeah, I know that this one is kind of a dark academia mystery series. So yeah, I really do need to read book 1 and 2, and then if I enjoy it, pick up book 3. But I do like Leigh Bardugo's writing, so I think that I will probably enjoy this series. Then on the 22nd of September, we have a new release from Stephanie Garber, and this is another novella. So this is The Mirror of Infinite Endings, and this is set, in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So it features Jax and Evangeline Fox. If you've read the series, you will know who those characters are. So yeah, I am excited to read this one, although I haven't finished the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, so I would need to do that first. But I likely will not get this one when it comes out, as it is quite expensive for a novella. It seems to be the same price as like a full-sized hardback. So yeah, I probably won't pick it up straight away. Then we have a new book by Adeline Grace, who wrote Belladonna. That series is another series I still need to finish reading, but I do really love her writing, and I went to an event, I don't think it was last year, was it the year before? Yeah, I went to an event a couple of years ago with her talking about that she was writing this book. So yeah, she had the idea and she'd started writing it. So yeah, I am really intrigued by the concept of this one, and I do love her writing. So yeah, this is The Wretched Divine, and it's a swoonsome adult debut that sees a determined young female knight forge a dangerous bond with an untrustworthy demon in order to destroy the monsters who killed her family. So yeah, sounds really interesting, and knights really seem to be in right now. So there's a lot of books featuring knights. So yeah, as I said, I love her writing and I'm really interested to read this one. And then on the 24th of September, we have Winter Veil, which is by Ava Reid. So she has written quite a lot of books recently. So I did love A Study in Drowning. I'm yet to read the sequel to that. And then there's a few more books that she has out that I would like to read. But this is set in a society that trains its students to become elite fighters in a Cold War. 4 individuals are drawn into a sinister conspiracy in this pulsating dystopian YA thriller from the best-selling author of A Study in Drowning and In a Martyr. So yeah, I do really like Ava Reid's writing, or at least I did in the book I've read. And yeah, I love dystopia, so I'm excited to read this one. And then we have a really interesting book. I think she is Japanese. I think it's a translation from the Japanese. And this is called Marie, the Unwonderful Witch, and it's by Asako Yuzuki, who wrote Butter, which I haven't read, but I saw everywhere and I saw a lot of people talking about. But yeah, this one piqued my interest because, yeah, the Unwonderful Witch. It has a witch in it. What more do I need to say? So this is a charming, cosy and thought-provoking tale about an unwonderfully unconventional little witch by best-selling author of Butter. Marie is an 11-year-old witch who loves her life. Indeed, what's not to love about spending time with her amazing mothers, hanging out with her clever friends, eating delicious food and experimenting with fashion? But if you ask any of the other witches in town, Marie loves her life a little too much. After all, a wonderful witch puts the needs of others before herself. Magic should be used to help humans, not, for example, creating giant donuts for you and your classmates to scoff. But Marie doesn't care what other people think of her, and when disaster strikes her town, she'll need to convince the other witches to have the courage to break free too, and be just as wildly unwonderful as she is. So yeah, this sounds really interesting. So it did also say that if you like Kiki's delivery service, you will probably like this one. So yeah, I did like that. So I think this is more of kind of a middle grade audience than YA or adult. But yeah, still, I'm really intrigued by this one. Then on the 29th of September, we have a new novella by Madeline Miller, and this is Mestra, and it's a new short story inspired by Ovid's Metamorphoses, which I haven't read. I do still need to read that on my mythology quest. But yeah, this is about a cursed father, a gifted daughter. Mestra, daughter of the king of Thessaly, is gifted a unique ability by Poseidon, metamorphosis into any being she can imagine. Her father, on the other hand, is cursed. As punishment for disrespecting the goddess Demeter, he is in possession of an unnatural, insatiable hunger. Devoted Mestra suggests using her new gift to help her father, but if his hunger is bottomless, how much will he take from her? Soon she must decide, will she keep helping her father survive or finally break free? A jewel-like tale of human fallibility, Mestra confirms Madeline Miller as our high priestess of mythology. So I did love The Song of Achilles and Circe, and yeah, I love Madeline Miller's writing. So whilst I would love a new full-size novel from her, it's nice to have a novella. And I think there is also one other by her that I haven't got yet or haven't read yet. And then we move into October. So on the 1st of October, we have Tales from the Territory by Travis Baldree, and this is set in the world of Legends and Lattes. So this is a collection of cozy fantasy tales set in the much-loved world of Legends and Lattes. There are many tales yet untold, so yeah, I'm excited to read some tales set in this world, as I did really enjoy Legends and Lattes, and yeah, the other one, I can't remember its name, but I also have the third in that series to read, so I'll need to read that before I read these stories. Then on the 8th of October, another really exciting announcement from Veronica Roth. So this is a new Divergent book, but it's more of a reimagining of the first Divergent novel. And yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. So this is called The Sixth Faction. And the synopsis says, Beatrice Pryor stands on the brink of a decision every person in her world must make. 5 factions, 5 futures, 5 lives. She has a plan. She's going to make the bravest choice and leave abnegation behind to join Dauntless, even though it means leaving her family behind. But when tragedy strikes at her choosing ceremony, everything changes, her world, her plans, even Beatrice herself. Her ensuing decision thrusts her into the crosshairs of an underground rebellion and into the path of a boy with secrets as dangerous as her own. A boy with only a number for a name. One choice will change everything. So I do love the series Divergent, and I'm really excited to see a reimagined book in this series. And yeah, I can't wait to read this one. And then on the 13th of October, another sequel to a series that I read a long time ago and really loved. And this is Life Out of Order by Audrey Niffenegger. And I was so lucky to have this in my goodie bag, which I received at the Women's Prize for Fiction live event. And yeah, I was so excited to receive this proof. I really did love The Time Traveller's Wife. And yeah, so excited to see that there is a sequel to this. So it follows Alba, who is the daughter from the first book, and she, like her father, can drift unpredictably through decades as she navigates her feelings for 2 very different men. So yeah, I'm interested to see a new generation of time traveller, and yeah, interested to see how this legacy continues. And I do love Audrey Niffenegger's writing, and it's so great to finally have another book by her. Then on the 27th of October it's not a direct sequel, but it's set in the world of 7 Deadly Thorns. So this is called 12 Dark Hours, and this is by Amber Hamilton. And I read 7 Deadly Thorns back in May and did really enjoy it. So I'm really interested to see this new installment in the series. although I am a little disappointed it's not kind of a continuation of the first book. But yeah, I will read the synopsis. So the new term is quite literally a trial, 3 of them in fact, at Grosmont School of Magic in the unputdownable companion novel to Seven Deadly Thorns, which sees the solstice feast turn into a nightmare after the arrival of a mysterious crown prince. Then also on the 27th of October, we have a release which a lot of people are excited about, and this is the 6th instalment in the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. So I do actually need to read the series first before I decide if I'm excited about this release, but I do plan to read the whole of Throne of Glass and the whole of ACOTAR before this book releases. And yeah, I think I am going to be cutting it a bit fine as some of those books are really chunky. So I really need to get on with that before this release. Then on the 29th of October is a sequel to another book that I'm really interested to read but haven't read yet. It's by one of my favourite authors. So this is Forevermore by Sulin Tan, and this is the sequel to Never Ever After, which was on my 10 Before the End last year, and I still haven't read it. So I really need to read that. So I'm really excited to read that. So that is a Cinderella inspired romantasy. I'm thinking it has Chinese mythology elements to it as well. And I love Sulin Tan. I love The Daughter of the Moon Goddess and the other books in that series. And also I did love Immortal by her as well. So yeah, I really need to get on and read Never Ever After so that I can get this one when it comes out. And I am hoping that there will be a Fairy Loot sequel as well. I'm sure they will do an edition of this. Then in November, we have another really exciting release on the 3rd of November. So this is another installment in the Shadowhunters universe. And sadly, this will be the last trilogy in the Shadowhunters universe. I can't remember how many books there are in this series now, but there are a lot. And I really love the series. It's one of my all-time favourite series. And yeah, so this is a trilogy set in that world. So this is The Wicked Powers. And the first book in this trilogy is The Last King of Fairy. And yeah, so excited to read this. But there are some books in the Shadowhunters universe that I need to read before commencing this one. So that's another series that I'm planning to read and hopefully do a vlog on. But yeah, I had better get my skates on as it's released at the start of November. So this will be the conclusion to the Shadowhunters novels, and this follows the character of Drusilla Blackthorn, and she is held captive by an alluring prince in the land of Fairy. So that's all I will say about this. That's actually all I've read about it, as I don't want to spoil any of the other Shadowhunters novels. But yeah, I just know that I want to have this one. I want to read this. But yeah, I do need to read the rest of the series first. So the books that I haven't read from the Shadowhunters novels. And I just don't know how it happened because it is one of my favourite series. I just didn't keep going, and I've got the books but I just haven't read them or haven't prioritised them. So yeah, I really need to do that. Then also releasing on the 3rd of November is a new book by Danielle L. Jensen, and she is author of A Fate Inked in Blood. I'm not sure if I have the title right, but also Curse Carved in Bone. So that was a duology featuring Norse myth, and yeah, I really enjoyed that. So I'm really excited to read more of her books. And I think there is another series called The Bridge Kingdom. I haven't read that. So yeah, I would like to pick that up at some point. But this, I think, is a new duology, and this is called Defy the Dusk. And it's the opening instalment of the Sandering Duet. This sweeping epic from the author of A Curse Carved in Bone presents a world ravaged by nocturnal creatures and the desperate shot at redemption by the woman whose magic brought them into being. So yeah, I did really like Danielle Jensen's writing, and this one does sound really interesting to me. And the second half of 2026 is really a time for the renaissance of my favourite authors. So most of my favourite authors seem to have a new book out, and we also have a new book by Jodi Picoult. So I have read a lot of her books in the past. I haven't read them all. There's still a few that I need to read, but I have read and loved her books. I love her writing and how much detail is in these books. So they are mainly revolving around kind of family, saga, political and social issues. So It's not the kind of book that I've read a lot recently, but I used to really enjoy her books, and I still have a few of her latest books that I haven't read yet. So yeah, again, another author I need to catch back up on. But this one sounds really interesting. So this is called Hollow Bones. So I will read the synopsis. So when Molly Fitzgerald was 2 months old, her mother went to a morning appointment in downtown New York. Like so many who left their homes on September the 11th, 2001, Molly's mother never came home. Now Molly saves lives for a living, running a department for when disasters strike. Molly and her husband Jesse, a police polygraph expert with his own fractured family, have found a love that is a solace in a dangerous world. But then Molly's whole world is turned on its head. She spent her life preparing for catastrophe, but nothing could prepare her when a disaster strikes too close to home. In this powerful novel, Jodi Picoult tells an epic story of the lies we tell ourselves, the plans we design to protect ourselves at the worst moments, and the ties that bind mothers and daughters. And yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I do think that it's going to be very heartbreaking though. So yeah, really excited to see another book by Jodi Picoult out this year. Then we have the final installment in another series. So this is Infernal Vow, and this concludes the Immortal Dark trilogy, and this is by Tigeskiyama. And yeah, I've read the first book, so Immortal Dark, but I still have the second book, Eternal Ruin, to read. And I was meant to read that towards the end of last year, but never managed to do that. So yeah, there's a lot of books that I really need to catch up on to be able to get these new releases. So yeah, this is a black vampire romantasy series, and it's steeped in dark academia vibes. Immortal Dark, which is the first book, pitches two bloodsuckers bound to the same arcane house into a deadly quest in the ruthless vampiric underworld. So yeah, it was a really kind of original vampire story, which I really loved, and it is nice to see black representation finally in the vampire genre. I think it was a really good start to a trilogy, and yeah, I'm really excited to read book 2 and then book 3, and I think I will just get book 3 and then read them back to back, or that's the plan. And then we are at the final book on this list. So I've only got up until November. I couldn't really find any books that were releasing in December that I was excited about, but maybe there will be some more announced later in the year. But yeah, so this is the last book on the list, again releasing on the 5th of November, and this is called Fatal Monsters, Cleopatra, Her Sister Queens and the Downfall of a Dynasty by Jane Draycott. And I don't think I've read anything by her before, but I think this one is kind of a non-fiction. So this is from the author of Fulvia, which is another book that I really need to read. I'm really excited to read that one too. But this is a group biography of Cleopatra and her sister queens, Berenike and Arsinoe, that paints a compelling portrait of lethal sibling rivalry in the ancient world. So earlier in the year I read Cleopatra by Sarah El-Arifi and really enjoyed finding out more about Cleopatra. So I would love to see more of a factual account of her rather than kind of a fictional retelling of her story. So yeah, I'm really interested to read that one too. So that is all of the books on this list. So as you can see, it's a really exciting second half to the year. And I do think I'm probably going to overwhelm myself with books because there's so many that I need to read first. And there's also so many coming out. So yeah, whilst I'm excited, I'm a little bit scared about the capacity for me to read these books. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have found some books that you are going to add to your TBR. Do let me know if there's any of these that you're particularly interested in reading, or if you're already aware of their release. And also do let me know if there's any releases in the second half of the year that you're particularly looking forward to. So if you are interested in seeing my original list, then I will link the video here so you can check the books out that I was most excited about this year, because there are some releases that have obviously already come out. So yeah, if you want to see which books I was looking forward to, then do check that video out. And I'll see you next time. Bye.